Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to another day of Rallycross here in Hong Kong. We had an epic day here yesterday, seeing Kevin Hansen taking the first ever win of World RX Hong Kong. In just a matter of minutes, we are going to kick off today's racing with SuperPole. You'll get a full explanation of what that is shortly. But first, let's have a look at what is Rallycross. So the discipline of motorsport is meant to be action-packed. It's door-to-door racing. We do see quite a lot of incidents across a weekend. We usually start the day off with practice, then we go into heats, then we go into semi-finals and finals, and the races are short. We usually have 5 cars abreast, and then in the semi-finals and finals, they start in a different kind of grid. But it is fantastic action with Rallycross, as we saw here yesterday. The fans were crazy about it. It was great to see their reactions from just this epic location. We are actually downtown Hong Kong, the Victoria Harbour just outside here. One of the world's tallest buildings is just over there, and the sun is shining on yet another day of action. What's going to happen out there today? We also saw Johan Kristoffersson become a 6-time world champion yesterday. And like I mentioned, Kevin Hansen won here. We had Grönholm, we had Scheider on the podium. Anything can happen out there today. And looking down at the pre-grid, the SuperPole is about to start. Everyone is getting ready to go out for this one-timed lap out on this track, just from the start grid to the checkered flag. That is the only time they have to set the fastest lap. And on your screens now, you'll see the drivers ready in their cars. We're going to start off with Michaela Olin Kotelinski. They go out in reverse championship order. Olin Kotelinski and O'Donovan that you see on your screen here, they are debutantes in the World RX this weekend. Olin Kotelinski having quite a difficult day yesterday, a few incidents for her, and O'Donovan just missing out on the final by 0.02 of a second, so he's looking for redemption out there today. So let's get started with the racing, shall we? Let's head up to our commentators, Nick and Hal.
Many thanks, Molly, and you're absolutely right. Wonderful words. It was a crackerjack day here yesterday. But perhaps most importantly is that they have learned so much in 24 hours of racing. Now, joining myself, Nick Fellows, in the commentary box is our expert analyst, the guru of World Rallycross, Hal Rich. Hal, a magical day yesterday for so many reasons. First and foremost, World Championship title goes to Johan Kristoffersson. But a very big day for the sport of World Rallycross with our first ever city centre event. And what a hit it was.
Absolutely right. A massive day for Rallycross as a discipline. To get new fans engaged, you've got to take the sport to the people, and what a better place to do it than downtown, one of the biggest cities in the world. We had a massive amount of new fans yesterday in the paddock, really enjoying what they were seeing, and they had some great action on track as well, didn't we? There was a lot of fierce racing, some upsets to the normal order, some challenges from racing on a new circuit, and of course a new winner for 2023 and a new world champion.
Now, the talk of the paddock yesterday was the development of the track. It's not easy, it's tight, it's technical, but also the loose surface has become something that everybody is buzzing about. So, Hal, give us a little more info and detail on this track and what is causing so much concern for many of the drivers and teams.
800 metres in length. This is a really challenging little new circuit on the World RX calendar. Joker lap towards the end of the lap. That's highlighted in green on your screen at the moment. You start on tarmac away from the line, then you're immediately into gravel. Left-handed gravel first corner saw plenty of action yesterday. Much like the end of the lap after the street circuit section, lots of loose gravel, 58% of it on this total lap, providing lots of challenges for the drivers.
I love the way you use that word, challenges. We are ready for SuperPole. One car, one clock, one time to determine the lineups for the coming heats later this morning. And first up is Michaela Olin Kotelinski.
Amazing to be here in Hong Kong, my first ever World RX event. And to be racing here, this city, this venue, it's really incredible. Definitely one of the coolest places I've ever raced in. And to head out to SuperPole, be all alone on this track, tackle it, do my very best. I am so looking forward to it.
Michaela Arlin Kotulinski is one of those drivers that's learning very quickly in this tight technical track that Hal was describing to us earlier. In that little VT there, she's telling us how much she's looking forward to going out there all alone to challenge this track that has more loose than asphalt on it. It'll be interesting to see how she goes against the clock. But it is also the track evolution that is something that is proving an interesting characteristic to the racing here in Hong Kong. And for many people, Michaela here has the optimum conditions with a very clean track. Green light, watch the clock. It's all about posting the fastest time, or is it? There may be some tactics in this SuperPole session this morning.
You're right, Nick, there could well be some tactics. Michaela neat and tidy against the wall there through turn 2. Nice, neat and tidy again through turn 3. She comes from a circuit racing background. Is very good at keeping the car in a nice, tidy straight line, but she touches the wall on the outside of turn 4. She's damaged the rear suspension, has she? Looks like it's towing out to me. Yeah, oh, what a shame for Michaela Arlin Kotulinski. Over the jump, hangs onto it into the final corner. She had so many problems yesterday. The car rotates and she just nudges into the wall. Both Timmy Hansen and Patrick O'Donovan nudged the wall there in warm-up earlier this morning. This is going to give Michaela not the ideal time, but you don't necessarily want to be quickest in this SuperPole session, because what you get from being quickest in SuperPole is pole in the second race. We saw yesterday that the second race was usually slower because of the way the track evolved, so she'll be disappointed with that. To have got into the wall and damaged the rear of the car might not be so bad in the outcome of her position for Heat 1 then.
Great words, Hal. It may well be a blessing in disguise for Arlin Kotulinski. I have to point out, she hit that wall a couple of times yesterday as well, but it is a clear example of how tight, of how technical, and how difficult this city centre track is.
We don't normally do an interview.
I feel like I perhaps need to apologise to Michaela here, because it could well have been a proper commentator's curse, saying just how good she is at being neat and tidy through the tarmac sections and just ran wide. Wasn't actually that wall she hit yesterday. She'd touched the wall elsewhere in the cut and thrust of the racing, and then the front wheel departed when she retired. And then, yeah, she had another problem later on, didn't she, in the semi-final, where the wheel had an issue with the brakes, it looked like to me, from the outside. Here she is through... It's drier today, isn't it? And there's a lot of loose dust and dirt on the outside of a proper street circuit, and just made that small mistake.
Let's move on. Next up is the newly crowned British champion, Patrick O'Donovan.
It's absolutely amazing to be here in Hong Kong. You know, not only is the track amazing, but I've been going in and around the city trying to find all the food I possibly can, and be giving all the local culture a little go.
At just 19 years of age, this is a British star in the making, as Patrick O'Donovan makes his World RX debut this weekend here in Hong Kong. There were some glimpses of brilliance yesterday, but kind of got caught up in the whole situation. I think today may well be a totally different story for Patrick O'Donovan, as he learns quickly, settles those first race nerves, and gets down to what he does so well. This young lad has been on the circuit since he was 14 years of age, and as I said, at just 19, he is a force to be reckoned with. We're ready to race with light tread. And there goes the green light, and the clock ticks away for Patrick O'Donovan. 51.369 seconds, the target time, but of course the big guns will come after O'Donovan as we start in World Championship order.
Runs wide through turn 2, off the throttle into 3, just let the nose come back towards the wall. This is the corner where Kotulinski touched the wall. Tidy for O'Donovan up this street circuit section. This isn't a full push lap, I don't think, for Patrick. Just rolls at the throttle there as well. Needs to keep it neat and tidy as well. Over the finish line. 5 seconds quicker than Arlin Kotulinski. in the final sector and does set a better time by some 5 seconds overall. Be interesting to see how that plays out later on, because Michaela was battling that damaged rear wheel for some time.
Yeah, we were chatting to Patrick earlier this morning back at the team hotel, and he was a little unsure, undecided on the best tactical game plan for this SuperPole, and I think this is all part of the young British stars' learning curve. Let's have another look in slow motion, Hal, at these racing lines and the pace from Patrick.
Bumpy, isn't it, off the start area compared to yesterday? The car moving around a bit. Nice and smooth through the first corner, running wide. It's really hard to find the consistency in the grip in those loose surface corners when the track evolves as much as it does. This is where Michaela dropped into the wall just by running a bit wide there in the later part of the corner. The jump's a bit bigger today as well, isn't it? Which is nice to see. Obviously, Volvo Construction Equipment have worked hard on the track overnight. Across the line for O'Donovan.
So normally we'd be looking for the fastest time here, but due to the fact that the track evolution is changing, there may be a different tactic from some of the drivers. Next up is Clara Anderson.
We are in Hong Kong, first time here for World RX, first time also with a city center track. It looks really cool, and we're all super excited to bring the love for rallycross to a whole new city, and I can't wait to see how the day will go.
Big improvement for Clara Anderson and the CE dealer team from Cape Town, South Africa to here in Hong Kong. Clara was 5th in the opening race of the doubleheader here 24 hours ago. And Clara Anderson, with this new Zeroid X1 car, is getting quicker and more confident. She brings a lot of experience with this type of vehicle and is really starting to feel confident. I'm sure that Clara is looking to go out in this last race of the season on a high note. Let's see how she goes with the SuperPole. There's the red lights. 23-year-old Swedish driver gets the green light to go here, chasing Patrick O'Donovan's target time of 45.974.
Much more committed for Anderson through turn 1. It's difficult, isn't it, with the tactics for SuperPole, especially with the track conditions today, because yes, it might get you a better result in, or a better grid position for Heat 1 if you're careful or lose a bit of time, as Anderson really moves the car under braking towards the end of the street circuit section. But ultimately no one will ever remember why the order was what it was. They'll just know that someone went quickest doing SuperPole, so someone will be out there to get the feather in their cap this afternoon. Anderson has been quicker in both of the first sectors on this run. Stops the clock sort of 43.7 to go fastest overall so far.
That's good. In a bit. Take care.
That's good. Take care, says Patrick. Clearly wasn't on a big push in his run, and they're playing the tactics game.
43.700, Clara Anderson looking for a podium to wrap up the season for 2023 here today. That's not a bad performance at all. And again, it's all about building the confidence. Talk us through these racing lines again, Hal.
Well, you can see she was much more committed than the previous run. She was quick yesterday, Clara. Chased Johan Kristoffersson round in Heat 1, then had some issues that she was disappointed about, but managed to fight back well in the semi-final, got through to the final and scored a good double result for the CE dealer team. Of course, her teammate, who we'll see later on, Nicholas Gronholm, was on the podium. Clara really moving the car around, under braking at the end of the street section, just pops up onto 2 wheels over the jump, little nip of the handbrake to get the rear rotated into the final corner. Hard to know how close to run to the wall because the ruts can pull you in. Solid job.
And next to race, with Clara Anderson going top of the table, is the 27-year-old Norwegian driver, O.C. Veiby.
Super cool to be here in Hong Kong. first ever city race in the history of World RX. We're really looking forward to drive here. It's going to be a brand new experience, everyone, so can't wait to get out there.
Veiby, who claimed 4th position in the first of the 2 races here 24 hours ago, would dearly love to end the 2023 season with a podium performance. He's so close, just 1 podium on tour in Höljes in Sweden for Veiby. And let's see if Veiby is looking for the fastest time or a tactical performance with regards to the evolution of the track. But there is no doubt, for many people, Veiby could be the guy that is the spoiler in the pack. Now his teammate, Johan Kristoffersson, has wrapped up the title. Veiby now can really push it, and push it all on his own. There we go for Veiby. Let's watch the Norwegian's time.
Veiby's rally style was key yesterday, as it was for Niklas Gronholm through these first corners, getting a lot of rotation done early on and being confident in reading the road, just like you have to be in rallying. Veiby came into this weekend with a good opportunity of finishing in the top 3 over the overall standings, but worst case scenario for him really, with Hansen, Kevin, Scheider and Niklas Gronholm on the podium, wasn't really what he needed in terms of the point situation. And this is Veiby using not even half throttle, I think, just trundling around the lap to try and get himself in race 1 for heat 1 later on today. Almost, well, he does come to a stop before the line.
And these are the tactics that we were referring to. A 51.817. That's Timo Scheider watching on. Clara Anderson still stays top of the table, but a tactical drive clearly from Veiby there.
Yeah, and of course the advantage they have is they can back off more than the previous driver, because the spotter will be there knowing exactly what the previous drivers have done, and they'll know what the time is. They'll know just how much they need to manage the situation. What a shot that is off the start line, looking at the skyscrapers in the background. Of course, you learn a bit by being committed in the first couple of corners as well, so no doubt they'll all have a bit of a push early in the lap, I'd have thought, as we get later on, because you never ever stop learning in this game. All of the experience of the Kristofferssons, the Veibys, the Hansens, the Gronholms and the rest will be aided that little bit by pushing on in the early part of the lap and seeing where the grip is, and then of course you can do a Veiby and stop at the finish line just to ensure that you are the slowest.
And of course the slowest will go first in the opening heat, and they're looking for the optimum track conditions, and that is why Veiby is almost bringing the car to a standstill just before the checkered flag. Let's move on. 2019 FIA World Rallycross champion Timmy Hansen is next to drive.
Time for SuperPole in this stunning environment just by the harbor in Hong Kong, right in the center. It's a fantastic track, super challenging. Let's go.
Well, Timmy Hansen will look to improve on his performance yesterday, not necessarily in this one-lap SuperPole part of the day, but most definitely through the heats into the semis and finals, only managing 9th position. Whilst his younger brother Kevin took top honours, Timmy was a little frustrated with his performance and will, if nothing else, look to finish on a high note to wrap up 2023.
He was pleased with his performance, wasn't he? He was frustrated with Timo Scheider from the contact in the first corner. That went on a while after the semi-finals and almost dictated the final grid, but yeah, it just didn't work. It's not working out for Timmy at the moment, isn't it? Timo was dropped a couple of seconds and dropped down to 3rd in his semi, but didn't quite go the way that Hansen wanted. And this I was talking about, Nick, the big push from the world champions through the first couple of corners. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of these drivers just absolutely have it and see how much time they can get out of this lap. Timmy still on a push. First sector time is an 8.4. Yeah, just to prove me wrong, Timmy rolls right out of the throttle, so he's gone for the big push through the first part of the lap. Now this is going to get a bit silly, isn't it? Because these are these later drivers are going to have to stop. Rally fans will remember when the rules were changed in WRC, weren't they, years and years ago, when Carlos Sainz was stopping before the end of the stages between the yellow and red boards in Australia, I think that was, to affect the road order for the next day. Timmy Hansen waits long enough. He's waited, so he's 4 seconds slower than Veiby. But you know, how long's Kristoffersson going to have to wait when he gets there? If people are waiting more and more.
Yep, it's not the duel or the race-off that we were hoping for.
I still think one of these drivers might just give flat out just to take it and roll the dice.
Well, let's hope you're right, because Clara Anderson's still at the top of the table, 43.7.
But Veiby hasn't, you know, you're affected by your order, because at the moment Veiby won't have done enough, for example, in fourth at the moment. If the other guys keep going slower, he's still going to be in the wrong race.
And I imagine, Hal, that the communication is coming from the spotters who
of course,
have got the same screens that we have, watching the clock.
No, they won't be watching the screen. They'll just be watching their own stopwatch. They'll know the time of the previous car. They'll be watching the live timing. They'll know what the lap time is. They'll know what a good lap is, and they'll just be managing the gap.
Well, we've got a funny feeling that this kind of tactic will continue. Hal is hoping, we're all hoping, that somebody goes flat out for the whole of the lap.
Just be fun, wouldn't it?
There's Timmy just backing right off to make sure that he is in the slower group. Therefore, he starts the heats earlier on. Let's move on. It's a very important day for the Flying Finn, Niklas Gronholm, who is gunning for a top 3 position in the season standings here today.
It's great to be in Hong Kong, first ever city race for World RX, which is quite exciting. The city is very nice. A lot of people compared to Finland, but yeah, very busy. Looking forward to get out racing.
And we're looking forward to see Gronholm in action as well. Runner-up to Kevin Hansen in the race here 24 hours ago. There's the construction equipment dealer team, all calculating. Does he go full blast here, go 1-2 with his teammate Clara Anderson? Or does he try and play the same game as the likes of Timmy Hansen and OC Veiby, aiming to be in the slower group to get the better track condition going into the first heat? Gronholm was so exciting yesterday, Hal. Surely he's got more to come today.
Yeah, he was really rightly disappointed that didn't have a great start in the final. Fought back to finish second in the end. It looks to me like Niklas got a puncture in the first corner, and the car's moving around a lot now. As usual, I was a bit wary about what to say. If you look at the right rear tyre, so this isn't a go-slow lap for Gronholm, although it's quite convenient. If it was me, I'd just stop the car now. I know that's not very sporting to the TV show or the event, but there's no point doing any more damage. But as he turned into the first corner, it popped the tyre off the rim. Now, that won't really be an issue because we had wet running for much of yesterday, so we didn't use a lot of tyres. All of the drivers have got 20 tyres to use at their disposal this weekend. That's one way of going slowly, though, isn't it?
And I think it's exactly as you have described there, how he's trying to just create or not put any more further damage to that wheel, and looking for that slow time.
Still backs off massively before the line. He may as well have just stopped really and got a DNF, because that would have put him 9th. With René not starting, René Munich will be 10th. Anyway, Niklas on a 1:22.7. This is the first corner, so you see him turn in here, and you'll see a little puff. There, you see the little white puff, and that's the air coming out of the tyre. It's not necessarily a puncture, it's more likely a D-bead, where the sidewall of the tyre just got pushed off the rim, all the air comes out at once. Niklas clearly felt it there as the car rotated. Gives it a little flick the other way to see. Sometimes you just move the wheel a little bit when you're in the car, when you've got lots of space, just to feel what the car's doing, and yeah, car all out of shape. Time lost, but as we've seen, he won't be too disappointed. This is it again though, in slow motion. See him nip the handbrake, the rear wheel locks. Car moving around on the bumps, and there you go. poof, all the air comes out. Lucky it happened where it did. If that had happened closer to the wall, that could quite easily have been contact with a concrete wall on the outside, but he got away with it.
Right, let's move on to the German driver, Timo Scheider, on the podium in his last 3 races in this year's championship.
The very first city event for World RX, super pumped and stoked to be part of it. After winning Cape Town, this one will be very special for me, so stay tuned.
And that roll of form from Timo Scheider continues. A very impressive 3rd position here yesterday. After that victory he was describing to us there in Cape Town, South Africa. His first ever World RX win. Confidence for Timo is at an all-time high, celebrating his birthday here on Friday. Timo Scheider will look to pick it up where he left off 24 hours ago. So let's watch the tactical game plan from the allinkle.com squad here. René Munich absent due to technical issues. Timo Scheider now tries to keep the team on top.
Be quite a shout, wouldn't it, just to turn left here and return to the paddock and not do the whole lap. I thought Timo was thinking about it then. They're running the rear of that car pretty low compared to the opposition, aren't they? You could see it. Unless he's got... I think something's broken there, Nick. On the left, right, on the left rear. You can hear it scraping as well. I think Timo's broken something. Let's have a look in this final corner. If we can look at the left rear wheel. Maybe not. It's hard to tell, isn't it? It definitely looks a little bit lower to me on the left rear. You could hear it scraping. It looks lower at the back. The ride height looks very low, and you don't want a low ride height on this track. So it'd be interesting if we can find out what's happened to Timo, but the time puts him 3rd.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not one or the other there,
yeah,
not purposely trying to go slow, but it looks like a technical issue that, as always, Hal, you spotted perfectly, takes a little bit of the pace out of Timo Scheider's performance.
Yeah, it's a puncture, right rear. So the car is low. Another lightly DB'd on the Cooper dry tyre. Timo shaking his head, so clearly he wanted to do a push lap. See, it's all nice and square there off the start. Let's have a look where that may have happened. Is it exactly the same place as Gronholm? Yeah, there it is. So what's happening there, Nick, is the car's bouncing around on the bumps, and as the weights come off the rear of the car, it's in the air, and then it's landed with the weight of the rear of the car on that sidewall of the tyre. It's landing slightly to the side, and the tyre's not designed to deal with that load, so the first thing that gives up is the tyre, and of course that's good because you don't want to damage anything else, but the tyre's just got pushed underneath the wheel, and hence why the rear of the car is that bit lower. Can't really see it from any of these angles either on our monitor up here, so yeah, I don't feel too bad about not spotting it the first time around. It's fun. It's funny when you lose the ride height on one side of the car. You can see it there, so I did miss it there. When the ride height drops on one side of the car, it also affects the other side, so the whole rear looks low. But this could be a SuperPole win for Clara Anderson, and wouldn't that be good?
Next up is Kevin Hansen, the winner of the first ever FIA World Rallycross City event here yesterday.
Standing at the start line, you have one of the biggest buildings in Hong Kong in front of you and a massive track that is so cool, surrounded by skyscrapers. So to make a perfect lap around this track will be really hard because you're distracted by all the cool stuff around.
Now, Kevin's older brother, Timmy, has played a tactical game, looking for a slower rather than quicker time here, trying to score that earlier start in the opening heat. I believe it could well be the same tactical game plan from Kevin Hansen, or will it? I see Hal waving his pen here.
Well, I think Kevin's one of the drivers that might just let at it and go for fastest time, because you've got to roll the dice, haven't you? It's no good ending up with all the fast drivers in the first race, because you're never going to get a faster time if you don't make it to the first corner first. So with Anderson, O'Donovan, Scheider at the moment in the first of the races, and Kevin's on a push immediately. Oh, was that we heard a little, no, tyre's still up. All good. I think Kevin Might go for a push lap here. Still on it at the moment. Fastest of all through the opening sector. A purple first sector for Kevin Hansen. Down into turn 5, rolls out of the throttle, back on, up towards the jump for the final time. Most air of anybody so far in this run. Fastest of everybody so far in the middle sector as well, and he is going for the fastest time, drives to the line. Kevin Hansen goes to the top by 6/10 of a second ahead of Clara Anderson. And I can't say I'm surprised. That's Kevin's character in a nutshell, isn't it? Just to go out there, do something different, and have the accolade of setting the fastest SuperPole time. Remember, he was the first driver to beat Johan Kristoffersson to SuperPole this year in South Africa, and he'll be aware that it doesn't look bad on your CV or to your partners or on the TV if you're the one at the top of the order come the opening heat, so why not? I mean, it's such a lottery. The drivers are all over the place in the order at the moment, aren't they? Because Scheider had a puncture and then was in no man's land, really. Still don't know whether Scheider will win the first or second race, depending on what Kristoffersson does. So there's lots of variables there. So at the moment, Kevin Hansen's there with Clara Anderson and Patrick O'Donovan, his teammate, Scheider and Arlen Kotlinski. So, yeah, it's got to the point where there's so many variables you just don't know what's going to happen, because the first race, they could all have a big kerfuffle in the first corner and lose lots of time anyway. You just don't know.
And I like the fact that Kevin Hansen has set his mindset for the day. He's determined to hold on to runner-up spot in the championship standings. He's 13 points ahead of Timo Scheider and Niklas Gronholm, and therefore give yourself a full dress rehearsal, go out there and send it. Kevin Hansen goes top of the table. We have one driver left to go, already crowned the champion for 2023. Next up, Johan Kristoffersson.
First time here in Hong Kong, brand new track. Very difficult to learn the track that quickly, but it's all about to try and nail that lap to get a good start position for the qualifying.
Well, Johan Kristoffersson's day yesterday, many people believe was all about just making sure the championship was taken care of. He can go out and enjoy this last race of the season. And there's his father and spotter, Tommy. But Johan Kristoffersson now, I am sure, will be looking for a win here today. The pressure is off. We're not talking about points. His 6th FIA World Rallycross Championship title is in his back pocket and ready to go back home to Sweden. So, what is the tactic from Johan Kristoffersson in the SuperPole? What will be the tactic throughout the day?
So I am sure that Johan's tactic for SuperPole will be to try and be 6th. One place ahead of Ole Christian Veiby. Now, they know what Veiby's time is. Ole Christian Veiby's done a 51.817. I could be wrong, but I think Johan's going to want to be on pole in race 1. And to do that, he needs to do slightly better than Kristoffersson. Slightly better than Veiby, his teammate. Looking at the sector times, Johan has gone quickest in sector 2. Is he going to go for the big push in the final corner and prove me wrong? He's on charge, yes he is. Doesn't go quicker than Kevin Hansen though. Drops into P2 overall by just 0.09 of a second. I really expected Johan to try and manage the position to be on pole in race 1, but instead will line up 2nd on the grid in race 2 in heat 1 later on today.
Yeah, the pressure's off. Go and enjoy the racing, I'm sure, are the words from the KMS team, who've also lifted the Constructors title as well this season. And
Dropped 3/10 there in the first corner, didn't he, where the car got rotated, bouncing around on the loose. Kevin was very committed and smooth through the first corner, and if Johan was going for a push-up, he'd be disappointed to lose that much time, because he gained most of it back, didn't he, in the next 2 sectors.
And it's another indication on how difficult that first turn is in the loose if you go at the end.
I think it's a lottery in these cars, the way they're set up. It's nothing against the cars. It's just difficult to do, and that's great. I love it. I love the variability. Good racing comes when drivers make mistakes.
No, Kevin Hansen absolutely delighted to be top of the table in SuperPole, literally picking it up where he left off yesterday, the winner of the penultimate round of our tour. There is Johan Kristoffersson. And let's go down and hear from the winner with Molly.
Kevin, congratulations. That's another SuperPole win this season. But what a lot of tactics that came into play there. But you weren't having any of that, were you?
No, I thought, I heard rumors there would be a lot of tactics around, and both of my teammates did it. And I thought, no, I will go for it. It's too complicated, too much, and I wanted to have a good feeling going into the heats. And Johan and Clara went flat out, and we took them on speed. That was nice. And it's super rough out there. It's really, really hard, but we had a good run, and I'm really, really proud of that one. And nice to get the last SuperPole of the year and grab it in our bags.
The answer to this question is going to be completely obvious because you won here yesterday, but tell us a bit about your plan for the day.
Oh, it's going to be super, super hard today. 3 heats today, and the track, as you all have seen, that's why the tactics is there, is super rough, and it gets slower and slower the more we drive on it, the more ruts it come through. So I just wanted to be in a good position to start the day. That's what we've known as for all the years. If you start on pole, that's a safe bet, but we'll see if that pays off now for the rest of the day.
And just lastly, I want to ask you, what was that feeling like on that epic podium yesterday? It looked unbelievable.
Yeah, if I could share all of that with the guys at home, it's an unbelievable feeling. The skyline, all the fans, and so much support. That was amazing, so I would like to do that again.
Well, it's all smiles down here from the end of the SuperPole. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us for the first bit of racing this morning. We will be back with, like Kevin said, 3 heats, semi-final and final. So don't go anywhere. I can't hear a word, Saint.